Hello and welcome to the Fab Five Podcast. We discuss current and relevant topics led by the top influences of our age. Today we are joined by our first five presidents, George Washington.
Hi.
Thomas Jefferson.
Hello.
John Adams.
Hi.
James Madison.
Hi.
And last but not least, James Monroe.
Hi.
Let's dive right into this. James Monroe, do you feel like your Monroe Doctrine was ignored by your successors who expanded the country?
Yes, I do feel as if my doctrine was ignored by the successors who expanded our country. My doctrine specifically states not to have any affairs with European countries so we can't get colonized again, yet we went into war with other European countries.
John Adams, is the suppression of public opinion during times of crisis ever justified?
The suppression of the public opinion during times of crisis was justified when it comes to what is good for the country, and I wanted to protect the country. That is why I got the Alien and Sedition Acts passed. I passed the Alien Acts because it prevented spies from other nations that could lead to our downfall, and so I was saving the country. Therefore, the suppression of their opinion was clearly justified.
Okay, James Madison, does war cause national prosperity?
Yes, war causes national prosperity because our economy grows in the long run. When we win a war, we gain land and we have peace with that country. When we are left alone and have new land, we can use it to grow more crops, create more jobs, and have more people come to our country. So while immediately after the war we may lose money or raise taxes temporarily, we as a nation will benefit in the long run.
Thomas Jefferson, were you distracted from your belief of the Constitution because of all that money?
I was a little troubled because I believe in the strict interpretation of the Constitution, but it was a good deal, and I really just want to make America better. So I stuck to my beliefs and made sure the Congress approved before buying the Louisiana Purchase.
Okay, George Washington, what was so wrong with political parties? If you always wanted debate in Congress, why didn't you want the whole country to take place in the debate?
I wanted to do things to better this country, not ruin it, as these political parties have done. I liked having debates, people that would challenge my word, so I could rethink my decisions. These political parties didn't help this country. They ruin it. No one comes to a decision in this so-called United States of America.
Thank you. All right, let's get into the real problems of your age. Should we have sided with the French or the British in the French Revolution, or should we have not participated at all?
I believe that we should not have participated at all and stayed out of their business during the French Revolution. The nation wasn't ready at all for a war. Our military and economy were very weak at the time. I did what was right for our country by keeping us out of that war.
I disagree with Adams. The French helped us throughout our revolution. Why shouldn't we help them?
Despite what the French has done for us, our nation comes first before others. And if we had entered the war, then we would have been literally just taking a ticket to our downfall.
The government, whether it's the U.S. or the French, deserves to be in the hands of the people.
I 100% agree with what Jefferson said. France had just given us the aid we needed to beat the British. Why should we not give France the same aid so that they become independents like us?
I agree with Jefferson as well.
I agree with Adams, as we should not have taken a side at all. Taking a side at that time would destroy our nation. We've been building our nation after the war that ruined our country so much. Taking a side would obliterate that progress. We had nothing to fight with and too much to fight for.
The French helped us.
Okay, does anybody have any more opinions to say about this question? Okay, on to our next question. Do you think Washington was right looking at our polarized nation right now? If you had known this would have happened, would you have created political parties in the first place?
No, Washington was wrong. Adding political parties to our government only made it stronger. It engages citizens and adds more beliefs into our government.
I agree with Madison. Every difference in opinion is not a difference in principle.
I recognize that it is natural for people to organize and operate within groups, such as political parties. But I also have to argue that every government has recognized political parties as an enemy and has sought to repress them because of their tendency to seek more power than the other groups and to take revenge on people who did not vote for them.
I agree with Madison. If there weren't political parties, citizens wouldn't be civically engaged in the government.
As a Federalist, I think that political parties were good for our country, unlike what Washington thought, because it leads to civic engagement, because there are groups of people with similar beliefs.
Party members would not govern for the good of their people, but for power. Adding on to that, the framers of the Constitution did not expect political parties to emerge because they considered them decisive and divisive.
I disagree, Washington. We formed the Democratic Republicans because we were dissatisfied with the policies of the government.
And we wanted to further add our policies into the government.
Okay, does anybody have any further opinions about this, or has anybody changed their mind?
No.
Oh, what? I changed my mind and now I agree with George Washington. Political parties are good for the nation.
After these thought-provoking conversations, these busy men gave us an insight to the olden days and their opinions on the relevant topics of their age. And the only thing I can really say is thank you for joining us, George Washington,
Goodbye, friends.
John Adams,
Bye.
James Monroe,
Goodbye.
James Madison,
Good night.
Thomas Jefferson,
Bye.
and I really hope you listeners have a great day.